A Halfling Sonder, Sven's Story, by Illyria Valischin. Walking around, he begins to narrow down the selection. Most of the plots of the available land are covered in rocks. Others have too many trees to consider moving or cutting down. The search is a bit more difficult than he originally thought it would be. As he tries to imagine what a shop would look like on each location, he finally manages to settle on 3 possible choices. Although each one of them has their own problems that would have to be addressed, he marks out what he thinks would be a good position for a shop on each one, trying to get a feel for how it would sit, and if it met the conditions Mr. Leatherthimble needed. This takes up most of the morning and even into the early afternoon, as he works out each design on the individual plots, noting down anything that might need to be addressed before the work can start on the new construction. Finally, feeling he has a few good options for all, this shows Sven that 2 of the possible spots to work with would be more of a hassle than expected, because there are too many trees to block the sun in one spot, and the other, the boulders in the ground, would make it quite hard to level out the land, giving a slight curse as he walks back to the 3rd and last option. Carefully, he looks it over and measures out the dimensions that Mr. Leatherthimble is looking for. The shop most certainly would fit in the area. The light from the sun would be constant throughout the day, and it was the closest to Mr. Leatherthimble's house. He then makes the markers more pronounced for the shop and heads back to the tannery. As he walks in, he heads straight for his pack and pulls out a drink, quickly chugging it as he peers over at Mr. Leatherthimble, who is working on some nice vellum for scrolls. Wiping his mouth clean, he walks over. "All right, I have a good spot picked out near your house." "Oh, well, that didn't seem to take you too long," Mr. Leatherthimble says as he stands and stretches from sitting so long. "Well, let's take a look." The 2 of them head off and back up the road to the outskirts of the village, where the markers stand proud in the land. Looking around, Mr. Leatherthimble takes in all the surrounding areas, making sure that the sun won't be blocked too much or for too long. Nodding his head a few times, he then turns to Sven and says, "Yes, I think this will do. Go and ask the commission's office for approval now. Then we can get started on this right away." "Will do," Sven replies enthusiastically. He races off towards the center of the town, making sure to take all the quickest routes possible, wanting to avoid the local congestion in some areas that he knows by heart. He manages to get to the center of the town without too much of an issue, only to abruptly stop, as it seems most of the village is in the center. Many of the villagers are in an upheaval over the wood beetle infestation. Some of them are grumbling about their shops and the inventory being destroyed from the little bugs. Many are blaming others for their misfortune. He weaves in and out of the crowd, making his way to the small commissioner's office building, thinking to himself that this beetle thing is getting really out of hand and is soon wishing to help most of the villagers with their problems, but is unsure of what he can do right now. He shrugs off the momentary thought as he enters into the little office and looks around. The office itself seems to be fairly quiet, with just a few people waiting in line for a chance to be seen. He goes over to a little table and picks up the paperwork for the land agreement. Then, while waiting in line, he fills out the information that Mr. Leatherthimble had given him, as well as the location. By the time he reaches the front of the line, the paperwork is filled out and ready to go. A petite halfling woman looks up at him and waves him over to her desk. "What are we looking at doing this pleasant day?" she says while taking the paperwork from Sven. "Mr. Leatherthimble needs a new shop and would like to move it to a spot near his house. I have marked out the boundary as required." Sven shows the spot on the map he picked up. "I think it means the spot he is using will be open for someone else." She takes a moment to glance over the paperwork. "Okay, you need to take these to Mr. Dervey and see if he approves the land." she says while handing the paperwork back. Which office is his? He asks. Thank you for listening to my story. If you liked it, please like and subscribe and hit that bell for notifications.